Yo, what is going on, guys? Bruin Steel here. Welcome back to another WWE broadcast. I'm your host, Bruin Steel, and I'm joined by Canadian Yorker, and we are recapping the Monday Night Raw that took place on April 21st, 2025, and it took place in Las Vegas, Nevada. And it is the fallout for WrestleMania 41, so the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. And I just want to let you guys know that I am skipping the Friday Night Smackdown show broadcast from last week because a lot of shit has been going on this past weekend, and I'm pretty busy. So if you guys just want to see what happened on Friday Night Smackdown, you guys have to look online because I had some
Um,
friends over for WrestleMania, and I was pretty busy as well. Kind of lazy to be honest, but yeah, I'm skipping Friday Night Smackdown. If you guys don't didn't see a broadcast then, yeah, I decided to skip it. So, but anyways, Canadian Yorker, how's it going tonight?
Going pretty well tonight. Can't complain. There's a lot happening, going on, and it's pretty exciting. Um, I'm just glad to be here talking about SmackDown.
You mean Raw?
Sorry, talking about Raw. And yeah, there was a big fallout with what happened on Raw. Some pretty surprising things. Um, so can't wait to see and hear what it's all about.
All right. To start off this show, we got the new undisputed WWE champion John Cena making his entrance and calls the ring announcer to the ring and give him a card to read off. He explains that he's been told this announcement was disrespectful, and he introduces John as the greatest of all time. The never seen 17 gracing Las Vegas with his presence for the last time, the last real champion, John Cena. John Cena holds up the title and says, "Winners write history, and we are not winners. We think that just because he has gold now and we cheer, he's supposed to forgive us. That's not the way a functional relationship works. He asks people in the crowd if that's how they treat their wife or child, and he can still tell us to go straight to hell, even if we show up in a good move. Every damn one of us owes him apologies, and we don't have the guts to do it. This is the show where the crowd hacks Raw, isn't it?" A chant goes up, and Cena explains that it's we aren't sorry, but each of every one of them is sorry. And the best part, the crowd doesn't mean anything to him. That gets him that. John Cena gets a round of asshole chants. He says he might be an anus, but we're idiots, and he's gotten back up from the best shots every time, and the noise means nothing to him. The only thing that means anything to all of our lives is that he points to where his Tron says he has 36 dates on his contract. He counts off cities and the number drops until it reaches 27, and he explains that's not the match of the experience. We say he can't wrestle, he doesn't have to, and when that number hits zero, he's done, and he takes the title with him. Oh, we'll get a new title, but he takes this one home with all of its history. All he has to do now is play us, and the best chance we have to save was Cody Rhodes. But last night he was outshined, outclassed, outwrestled, and flat out destroyed. In time for us to live in the mirror and realize that nobody in that locker room has the strength, speed, or ruthless aggression of John Cena. But unlike us, he has a heart and he likes to do something nice. He asks the crowd to get out their cameras because they're going to want to remember this moment. And he holds up the title so they can get a picture of the last real champ. And then out of nowhere, a rivalry has renewed. Randy Orton lays him out with an RKO out of nowhere. Orton holds the title up before placing it on John's unconscious body and posing it in the turnbuckle. So wow. Randy Orton RKO's John Cena. A rivalry has been renewed. Randy Orton's going after that championship, and for the first time, we are having a heel Cena versus a babyface Orton. Wow. Yeah, I knew this was gonna happen. I called it. It's like, what if Randy Orton comes out and like confront John Cena, a rivalry that has been going for decades. So yeah, that's crazy. And most likely we're gonna have John Cena versus Randy Orton at Backlash. So I can't wait to see that matchup. If they do make it official, they have to. But Canadian Yorker, what are your thoughts on John Cena opening segment, and what are your thoughts about Randy showing up and RKOing John?
Oh, that's a lot. That is a lot just to handle. I mean, Randy Orton coming out of nowhere and RKOing John Cena. I mean, I'm pretty sure he heard. about what happened to Cody Rhodes and saw everything that happened and was completely just I gotta say so I mean he's gotta respect uh, uh, John Cena's achievement, but I'm pretty sure he's not happy with the way how John Cena had humiliated and absolutely destroyed Cody Rhodes. I mean, honestly, it's good to see that John Cena, I mean, that Randy Orton is getting. I mean, this could be Randy Orton's shot to actually beat John Cena and get his 15th WWE title. And he's actually one of the closest guys that he still has a lot. Still has a lot to prove in the ring, and he could beat John Cena's record because he's been in WWE as long as John Cena has been in WWE. So and of course both of these guys are rivals. So it'll be really great to see that happen. But in all honesty, John Cena, this is his last year in WWE. I don't think he's going to drop the title just yet, too soon, to Randy Orton, even though it could be Randy Orton's shot to get the WWE Championship. Um, that could happen. And I mean, wow, actually seeing a heel John Cena versus a face Randy Orton, and that's something you quite might never see in a while. Um, and I gotta say, leading up to Backlash, uh, there's a lot of things that's gonna be going on um, between now and Backlash. It's only 3 weeks away, but anything can happen in between now and then. And also, um, you know, I, here's the thing though. There has to be some sort of storyline here going into leading up to Backlash. We're only about 3 weeks away from Backlash. So what's the point of this? That's my question.
All right. Um, Moving on to the first match of the Monday Night Raw, we got a rematch from WrestleMania. We got Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria defending the tag team titles against Judgment Day, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Uh, Morgan and Lynch to start, Liv taking it to her, ground punches, kicks to the spine. Becky gets back into it, trade punches, rolling soul butt, whipped into a tag from Valkyria. Double hip toss connects, putting boost to Morgan in the corner. Kick combination ends with the Israel. Rodriguez runs in and accidentally throws Lyra into her own partner. Judgment Day to the floor. Champions with a stereo baseball slides. Raquel has Lyra in a Canadian backbreaker rack. She fights out. Israel connects and the door is open for a tag. Tag's made. Lynch lays Morgan out with a kick, charging forearm in the corner, stacks them up, springboard kicks for each challenger, and then exploder suplex on Liv. Nope, back and forth, codebreaker from Morgan, Oblivion blocked, manhandle Sam connects, Rodriguez breaks it up. Becky shrugs her off with a jawbreaker, but cut down by a boot in the corner. Lynch crouches into the ropes, jockeying for position, Valkyria up with her tag made, thinking double suplex, but Morgan rushes in and pulls Becky down for a powerbomb. Raquel and Lyra jockeying for position. Avalanche powerbomb from Raquel is only good for two. Black and forth. Valkyria hits nice win, but Morgan puts Raquel's foot on the ropes. Lynch drops her with a low Lazo's press, but he gets put into the post by Liv. Lyra with a dropkick to wipe Morgan out. Headed up top, nobody home. Raquel with a boot, still no. Um, Rodriguez powerbombs Liv into Lyra, and then Lyra dumps her to the floor. Oblivion counters with a rock bottom of sorts. Israel connects fireman's area. Raquel gets involved. Becky gets involved. Lyra clobbers Raquel off the apron and into Lynch. Liv rushes over, was able to hit the Oblivion from Liv Morgan on Lyra Valkyria. What? I was shocked. Liv Morgan with Oblivion. 1, 2, 3. The Judgment Day win back the Women's Tag Team Championship. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeat Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria by pinfall to win back the Women's Tag Team Championship. Post-match, Becky helps Lyra up seemingly to confront her, but instead drop her and betrays her for losing. She leaves them, come back and beats Valkyria down with some more repeated manhandle slams. Becky Lynch has officially turned heel And Becky Lynch is going after that IC title, man. Becky Lynch versus Lyra for the IC title at Backlash, man. This has to be the storyline. I just don't understand why Liv and Raquel could have just retained the title at WrestleMania if they were just if Becky and Lyra were just gonna lose the title the very next day. But that's insane, man. I called it. Becky Lynch turning on Lyra, setting up this matchup between the two for the IC championship. And Gene, I know you were complaining about this, but now I feel like you're happy right now.
Yeah, I am. I gotta say, I mean, I'm. Here's the thing. Yes, I'm not. I'm happy that Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez get their championship back, but the fact that they lost the championship at WrestleMania, I mean, come on. They lost their championship at WrestleMania when they could have just beaten Becky and I get your point about how this is Becky's chance to get revenge on Liv Morgan, but Becky and Lyra didn't have to beat Liv and Raquel at WrestleMania. They simply could have just lost there was no point for them to win. But they should have they should have just lost at WrestleMania and then Becky should have just turned on Lyra on Monday Night Raw to get a chance to get a second shot, title shot, and that would make more sense. But the fact that Becky Lynch all of a sudden just turns here, all of a sudden out of the blue, just for no reason whatsoever, after they just won a championship together, at least let there be some sort of storyline build up for Becky to turn on Liv more on Lyra, or we could have some sort of situation going on with who figured out who attacked Bianca, who attacked uh, Bailey, who took out Bailey. We don't even know. I'm pretty sure it was Becky Lynch. I mean, this is kind of like the Bianca Jade storyline that's happening with Lyra and Bailey, but it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, the fact that this is it's just a jumbled this storyline is just a jumbled garbled bunch of nonsense with Becky Lynch being involved in this what no not whatsoever. Lyra has no bearing on this situation. Neither does Bailey. You could have a three-way title fight with Becky, Bailey, and Lyra fighting for the Intercontinental title. Which could have happened at at uh, at back, at WrestleMania for some reason. But no, we didn't have that happen. I mean, it's it's just looking really bad. The booking is looking really bad with Monday Night Raw. It makes sense. I mean, if Seth Rollins is going to turn heel, it kind of makes sense that Becky Lynch would also turn heel. I can understand that. But the fact that this played out the way it happened just doesn't make sense, and I'm sure it confuses the heck out of Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez because Liv Morgan is thinking that Becky Lynch is coming after her. What does that mean? Is Becky Lynch some sort of tweener person? Is she in between a heel and a face? That's just my question right there. But the fact that Becky Lynch all of a sudden betrays Lyra for no reason after them winning the WrestleMania, it's just terrible, terrible writing.
All right, so moving on, we got the New Day making their entrance and getting on mic, announcing themselves as your new WWE World Tag Team Champions and telling us to get down on our knees, raise our hands to the sky, and scream out, "Thank God for the New Day." Kofi says, "No team alive is better than your boys, the New Day." The Alpha Academy interrupts. Maxine Debris says they might be the greatest tag team ever, but the last time they fought Akira Tozawa and Otis, they got beat in 60 sweet seconds. And now here we are, the Raw after WrestleMania, and she loves to see us put their money where their mouth is and put those shiny tag team titles on the line right here. Xavier Woods asks Las Vegas if that's what they want, but of course he says no. Debris asks if the Minutemen are scared, and Kingston says there's no Minutemen around here, and if they want to go right now, get a ref to go right now. A referee's in the ring, but before the match can start, the lights go down, and a returning Rusev is here for some reason. Rusev returns to WWE. Rusev hits the ring and lays out Otis and Akira as the New Day gets out of dodge. Tozawa up on the turnbuckle, but the Bulgarian Brute turns and catches him and chucks him out of the ring with a fallaway slam. Maxine kicks, lays Otis out, stomps to the back of it comes in Otis passes out as the referee tries to fails to break Russo's grip. So welcome back, Russo. Russo is back. Russo is back in WWE, man. But yeah, there's that segment. I thought that they were gonna have a match, hopefully in the future, New Day versus Alpha Academy. But welcome back to WWE, Rusev. I mean, I saw this guy wrestle back in the day when he was with Lana, obviously. So welcome back, Rusev. What are your thoughts on that segment?
Yeah, I think this is a great promo. The New Day just won the championship back, the tag team titles. It's been a long time since they won the tag team titles. I mean, honestly, yeah, they've been together for quite a while now, and I think, it's really great that they are getting the tag team titles back and they're bringing some relevance back to the Raw tag team titles, as the Raw tag team titles definitely needs that push. So this is good for them, and just I like the feud building between the War Raiders and the New Day. So this I like to see how it's just going to progress going forward, going into the WWE Backlash. I'd like to see a rematch between the War Raiders and the New Day.
All right, so excuse me, sorry. Oops, that was bad. Give me a second. Sorry. Here we go. Sorry. So yeah, it's what do you think of the return of Rusev?
What was your question?
What did you think of the return of Rusev?
Um, yeah, I think it's really good that the return is back, and it's going to be exciting to see Rusev back, and can't wait to see what he's going to be producing or how he's going to be performing.
All right. So moving on, we got Io Sky getting on mic. She says last night was the best night of her career, and she's over the moon. She beat the best, and that means she is the best. Rhea Ripley thought she could forget her. Bianca tried to forget her, but now all of us will never forget her. She said something in Japanese and concludes by reminding us that she's the genius of the sky and the WWE Women's World Champion. Excuse me. She gets interrupted by NXT Women's Champion Stephanie on Vaggar. She congrats Io and says she likes to introduce herself. She's the NXT Women's Champion. La America Stephanie Valkyria. Sky gives her a polite round of applause before she continues saying that she wanted to come out here to show her respect. Anyway, it turns into a challenge for a match, and Adam Pearce comes down to make it official. So, Io Sky versus Tiffany Vaggar, champion versus champion. Matt grappling in the feeling out Sky with a wrist lock. Stephanie picks her leg to counter Io back to a wrist lock. Um, Trading pitfall attempts to the slate mate, whip across Tigress. Stephanie sends to the floor. Sky dives on her back inside, kick from the Dark Angel back to the floor over the Timekeeper's barricade and back in with a crossbody. Up top and jockeying for position, Sky with the avalanche arm drag, and both women are down. Trading shots on the apron, Stephanie with a dragon screw corner knees to the back and forth continues. La Primera gets a deep near fall off a terrorist fake out into the bridging pin. Butterfly backbreaker from Io cover for two, both women down and out up on top. Sky hits the avalanche Spanish fly, and again we're recovering on the mat. Roxanne Perez runs in out of nowhere and lays Io Sky out. Io Sky wins by disqualification. Post match, Gilia arrives and lays Steph, uh, Stephanie, excuse me, out with a kick. They share a nod and trade partners for a little ground and pound. Rhea Ripley makes the save and sends Roxanne flying with a headbutt. Gilead then decided that discretion is better part of valor and beats a hasty retreat. And Rhea Ripley gives the World Heavyweight title back to Io Sky and says, I'm next. So what are your thoughts on Io Sky winning by disqualification?
Um, it's a win is a win. A win is a win in my book. Although she didn't win cleanly, she still won due to the interference. Oh, excuse me, in the match. And as for the storyline, I think she's facing the NXT Women's Champion. I think it would make sense for Io Sky, to, instead of facing. There's nothing wrong with facing the NXT wrestlers, and they got their chance to shine in the big stage on WWE roster. But I think it would be good for Io Sky to be feuding with some other of the female wrestlers because they want to have a shot at winning the championship from Io Sky. But right now, Io Sky is on a tear right now and doing her thing. She beat Bianca Belair, she beat Rhea Ripley. There are obviously some other um, viable candidates who Io Sky can definitely has to face or and beat. So it's going to be really interesting to see, excuse me, who's going to be challenging Io Sky next in for the championship.
All right, so moving on. We got main event Jey Uso making his entrance. He soaks in the atmosphere for a good long while become before getting on the mic and saying the world heavyweight champion is now in your city. He says the road wasn't easy, and he gave it all he had at WrestleMania to beat Gunther, and he made him tap. He said he's grateful and he's gonna show every week. He's gonna show up every week and put the work in like he always has. And you're all excited to have Jey Uso as your champion. He wants you to hear you say yeet. The crowd does in fact say yeet. He gets interrupted by Sami Zayn, a returning Sami Zayn who's been out due to injury. He comes down and says he almost didn't come to Las Vegas at all, but he knew he had to because he wanted to make sure he was the first one to stand in this ring across from Jay, look him in the eye, man to man, with that title on his shoulder, and tell him how proud of him he is. He's his brother, his dog, his ooze. He loves him. He's proud of him, and he deserves that title, and everyone knows it. Jay holds up the title, his music hits, and he and Sami Zayn celebrate with the crowd. And here comes Big Jimmy Uso. The celebration moves on. So yeah, congratulations to Jay Uso on winning the World Heavyweight Championship. Man, that was crazy. The fact that Gunther tapped out to his own submission hold was crazy. Like I said, guys, I was there streaming the night one and night two. Well, night two was pretty bad because I missed it. My Wi-Fi went out. But man, the way that Jay hit the powerbomb that Gunther usually did, and then putting the Gorilla Clutch, making Gunther to tap out, that was crazy. But yeah, let's get going and move on. But before we do so, Canadian Yorker, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's great that the Jey Uso has a celebration. Sami Zayn is there to celebrate. It's great for Sami to see Jey succeed. Same for Jimmy Uso. Um, all these guys are celebrating. I'm sure Roman Reigns is proud of Jey for winning the World Heavyweight Championship. So it's a big step forward for Jey Uso, and there's a lot of things that he can accomplish now. He's already won Intercontinental title, and we know it's Jimmy's turn. Jimmy Uso is next. Sami Zayn. I definitely think Sami Zayn's get a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. He definitely challenged Gunther for it, but he lost. And Jimmy Uso definitely deserves his singles run as well. So can't wait to see how things gonna go forward.
All right, so moving on, we see Gunther is yelling at the commentary team. Michael Cole steps up to him and says he's just doing his job and he's not the one who tapped out. Gunther slaps the headset off of him, shoves Pat McAfee, and grabs Cole into the Gorilla's clutch. Pat rushes up to save his commentary partner. He and Gunther brawl. Referees and road agents arrive, but Pat's podcast pals jump the barricade and tie up security, getting rid of them while the ring general chokes Pat out. McAfee, face down and unconscious, Gunther is directed by road agent Jason Jordan and general manager Adam Pearce to leave through the crowd. Medics are called for Pat as he starts to come around, but he manages to leave mostly under his own power, even if he bet in dry heavily. So Gunther attacking Pat McAfee and Michael Cole. Holy shit. That's going to be a suspension and a fine. We see that Pat McAfee chokes on some water, but continues to dry as he goes to the trainer's room backstage. So condolence to Michael Cole for stepping in, and Pat McAfee, man, Gunther's just butthurt that he lost the title. Any thoughts on that? Gunther attacking McAfee?
Yeah, I think Gunther has a right to be pissed because Pat McAfee is a big Jey Uso supporter, and Pat McAfee is simply stating the facts that Gunther lost, and Gunther got pissed at him and choked him out, and took him out of So Pat McAfee's going to be out for a while until we see him come back, and I'm pretty sure he probably has it in for Gunther. He doesn't want to see Gunther win another championship again. Um, but I think that Gunther definitely deserves his chance to win it at WrestleMania, but he just couldn't get over the hump. So, what's going to be the next step for Gunther? Gunther is right on the cusp of being the next high level, uh, uh, just the next high level WWE superstar like Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins. He can do it all. He he's pretty much getting closer and closer to making himself a Grand Slam champion. So what's going to be Gunther's next step? I mean, what's he going to do with him? What is WWE going to do with him? I'd like to see what's going to happen.
All right, so moving on to the final match, we got Dominik Mysterio defending the WWE Intercontinental Championship against Penta. So Dominik Mysterio and Penta, winner gets the Intercontinental Championship. Dominik with the first shot, whip across. Penta kicks him in the leg out from his leg, but Dominik cuts him off in the corner and puts boots to him. Whipped across, up and over, duck a lateral. Zero steps off a terrace, and the champion falls to the ground. Off the ropes, Toms cuts him off with a super kick, but Penta comes right back with a diving crossbody. Penta with a top con gyro fired up. Penta with a handstand double stomp cover two. Super kick from Zero off the top. Mysterio kicks him high, but legal. Tornado DDT for two. Penta with a flip pile driver. Action to the floor, and he wipes both Dom and Finn Balor out. Back inside, Penta up top, but a returning JD McDonough. JD McDonough, who's been out with injury, is back, and he shoves him off the top. Dominik off the top. Dominik hitting the frog splash on Penta for the 3 count to retain the WWE Intercontinental Championship. And once again, the interference cost Penta JD McDonough returning from injury. And yeah, wow. Penta Dominik Mysterio defeats Penta by pinfall. Thanks to JD McDonough. So what are your thoughts on Dominik retaining against Penta? I know you're pissed.
Oh shoot. Man, I think as much as I hated I hated the fact that Dominic Mysterio does not deserve the Intercontinental Championship. You know, I really think Braun Breaker should have retained the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. Unfortunately, it fell defeat goes to the feet of Dominic Mysterio, who is the new Intercontinental Champion. And now, Judgment Day seems to be revived somewhat. And, the fact that Dom is the new guy with the champion, I got to imagine that Finn Balor probably feels a way about it. And, they probably see Dom as the new guy. So, it's like I'm smelling a change in the air. I'm smelling that there's going to be a change is coming. Finn Balor is on his way out. There's changes coming to Judgment Day. Um, Unfortunately for Penta is such a great wrestler, and Penta got beat by Dominic Mysterio. You know, I do think that Penta will become a singles champion one day. Dom is the guy for the moment, so he's the guy for the moment, and I just have to sit back, and anyone else that has to watch Dominic perform has to sit back and watch Dominic just just do his thing and win his titles going forward. But I don't want to see nobody cheering for Dominic Mysterio. If anyone's out there is remember what Dominic Mysterio did to his own family. Okay, remember that because I am not forgetting that. I am not forgetting that what Dominic did and said to his own family members. Until Dominic is not a face for me until he fully atones for everything he's said and done to his family and to his own father. Okay, Dominic is not a face to me at all. he is a heel, and he'll always remain a heel. He's been a heel for 2 years, and I accept him as a heel for 2 years. I'm not flipping my tone on that.
All right, so moving on to the main event. Seth Rollins making his entrance, flanked by Paul Heyman. That shocking alliance, and gets a mic in hand. Seth Rollins officially is a heel. He takes his sweet time before thinking he's a visionary. And he took a wise man from Roman Reigns, stole CM Punk's best friend, and he is the winner of the main event of WrestleMania. He gets interrupted by CM Punk. He wastes no time in minutes, no words, going right for the beatdown, hammering Rollins with punches and putting boots to him in the corner. AD nods when Paul Heyman leers from the corner. CM Punk turns to face Paul, who threatens a lawsuit if he touches him, but Punk charges right in and grabs him by the lap post and backs him into the corner. Seth Rollins gets up, pulls Punk off of Heyman, and hits a curb stomp on him. Paul leans over CM Punk as the credit play and the crowd chants for Roman Reigns. Heyman says they're going to conclude WrestleMania 41 by provoking the news of all the way to WrestleMania 42. There's a new, reigning, defending, undisputed number one top star in this entire industry, and that's Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns is here. Rollins throws Punk out of the ring and gets ready for Reigns as his music hits, and Roman stirs down the aisle, sliding in the ring off the ropes, and he takes Rollins out with one huge spear. Heyman is alone. Roman lays him out with a Superman punch. Tribal Chief is fired up, shaking, calling for the spear, but Braun Breaker slides into the ring and spears Reigns out of nowhere before he can spear Heyman. Punk is back in the ring. Breaker spears him too. Seth puts his arm around Braun, clearly his personal attack dog now. Rollins sits him on Reigns on the floor, but Roman gets him with the uppercut first. Braun takes the long way around, spear through the timekeeper's area. Seth wants Roman back in the ring, and Breaker replies. Reverse chin lock applied. Rollins tells him to watch and hits another black up on Punk. Curb stop on Punk. Curb stop on Roman too. Heyman, Rollins, and Breaker stand tall in the ring and raise each other's hands over Roman's and CM Punk's fallen bodies. So wow, we didn't expect Braun Breaker to be part of Paul Heyman's faction, and it kind of makes sense because a couple years ago, 2023, we saw Paul Heyman with Braun Breaker on NXT. So Braun Breaker is a Paul Heyman guy. Wow. Imagine if John Cena joined that faction. Oh, that would be so powerful of a faction. People are suggesting that it'll be Austin Theory. We have to see what happens. But man, what are your thoughts on this? Did you expect Braun Breaker?
Wow. And the fact that Braun Breaker joining hands with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, is quite amazing. I mean, I know we've seen Braun Breaker stare down Roman Reigns a few times, and he has been, they've definitely teased it before. Roman Reigns versus Braun Breaker. Both these guys have vicious spears. Um, just like with Bill Goldberg, there's just a lot of things going on there. Um, Honestly, I have never seen. Well, actually, Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman, they had their one interaction, and and there's a lot of there's a little interaction between Braun and Paul. So Braun basically just that I want to know, like, what's the reason for Paul Heyman recruiting Braun, and why is Paul Heyman aligning himself with Seth? Because there has to be a reason for this. And I mean, at WrestleMania, I can get why Seth told Paul that Punk and Roman don't really care about him. They're just using him as a means to an end. But what's Paul Heyman's reason for betraying CM Punk and uh, and Roman at WrestleMania? That's kind of something that's been bugging me for the past since it happened. Um, I think this is a great step forward, and Seth Rollins teaming up with Braun Breaker. It's just a great move for Seth because Seth needs somebody that can be his go-to guy, that can be somebody that's feared, his number two guy. And Braun Breaker is a dangerous, powerful wrestler. He just completely dismantled uh, dismantled Roman Reigns, dismantled CM Punk. But here's the thing, Jack. Here's the thing. You had Jimmy Uso, Jay Uso, Sami Zayn there earlier that night, right? But here's the thing. They didn't come out to help. They didn't come out to help Roman against Braun Breaker and help him beat Seth Rollins. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Where were they? Where were they? What were they doing? In all honesty, why didn't Roman ask his guys to come out there with him? You know, um, obviously, maybe we're going to see another person join Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. We're going to see this someone join this faction, and who is that person going to be? I don't know, but we're going to see who's going to be joining both of them going forward, as well as Paul Heyman.
Alright, so that would do it for Monday Night Raw, the fallout from WrestleMania 41. My name is Bruin Steele, this is Canadian Yorker, and in terms of our grading, a lot of promos, not a lot of matches, but I thought it was a great Monday Night Raw. Usually the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania is always special. So I'm gonna give this show a B plus. How about you?
I'm going to give it a. I'm going to give it an A. It was pretty solid Raw coming out of WrestleMania, so can't complain. It was pretty good.
Alright, so that would do it for our Monday Night Raw broadcast. My name is Bruin Steele, this is Canadian Yorker. If you haven't done so, like, subscribe, check out Canadian Yorker's YouTube channel, link will be in the description, as well as our WWE Wrestling Bros channel, which is our WWE Wrestling channel. That link will also be in the description as well. But anyways, we are out of here. It is getting late. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. My name is Bruin Steele, this is King Yorker. And we are on the road to Backlash, which is taking place May 10th. It's 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to check that out on Netflix or Peacock, I believe it's on. But anyway, see you guys later and enjoy the rest of your night. And see you guys in the next broadcast.
Yep, take care.